Hey everyone, this is Steve from GamersNexus.net. We were at the Grey Goo booth here at PAX Prime 2014. I'm joined by Pat, one of the lead designer on Grey Goo. And Pat, you worked with Westwood Studios. You worked with a lot of RTS in the old days and coming up to now.
Absolutely.
And so there was a lot of RTS in the 90s, a lot of RTS in the late 90s, early 2000s. Where did it go?
So RTS kind of split in two directions. On the one hand, you had the ultra complicated, micro-intensive, unit abilities, a whole lot of stuff to keep track of, and it kind of turned a few people off. There's a lot of people out there that are really good at it, but for the more casual crowd, they just couldn't get into it because it was just too much. The other direction it went was MOBAs. A lot more simple, single character, unit abilities, and upgrades through itemization and leveling. But it gets a little repetitive after a while because you got to buy new characters if you want to try something new. It's the same map over and over again. The original RTS kind of got lost in there somewhere.
And so, just to give the viewers an idea of what you worked on, what were some of the earlier RTS titles you worked on?
My original starting design position was Elm Tiberian Sun. I was the lead designer of the Firestorm expansion for that game. I worked on a few other titles for Westwood Studios before it closed down and started working for Petroglyph. So I've been a designer on Empire at War, Forces of Corruption, Universal War, and now Grey Goo.
Where do you see RTS as a genre going in the near future?
I think RTS is here to stay, and it's really up to the player to pick what kind of style they're looking for. Grey Goo is more of a simplistic, old-school kind of feel to it. No unit abilities. All the things that units can do are built in. You don't have to worry about it. Not a lot of micro. It's still micro there. There isn't any RTS, but you don't have to have uber micro to actually play the game.
What is it you think that makes RTS such an appealing genre to people like us who've played it for our whole lives?
So, when I first started in the industry, it was explained to me by Brett Sperry. He was the president of Westwood. He's like, RTS is like toy soldiers that you play with as a kid that you can move around in real time. And that's really it. I mean, the ultimate fun of RTS is getting a whole bunch of stuff and attacking your friends, blowing stuff up, and having a good time. Big giant battles, lots of explosions, and cool stuff to play with.
And it sounds like you're sticking to kind of that philosophy with Grey Goo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Goo is something I haven't personally seen anywhere else. It's just a big giant ball of protoplasm that rolls around the screen, eats stuff, splits into new units, and as I said, breaks all the rules. It can climb up the sides of cliffs and mountains. The only thing it can't do is build aircraft, so that's its one weakness.
And as a genre with RTS, do you feel like there's a lot of competition out there right now? Do you feel like it's a kind of open market for you guys?
Well, there's always the big behemoth StarCraft, and they're not going away, and we don't want them to because it's an awesome game. But for this level of RTS, I don't think there's a lot out there right now. There's been a couple that are in the works on Steam I've seen, but I don't think there's anything really that kind of scratches that beer and pretzels kind of feeling.
So comparing between something like StarCraft, where does Grey Goo fall on the difficulty spectrum? Do you see it as a little easier for users to get into, or?
Yeah, I think so. We tried to aim somewhere between the original Command & Conquer and StarCraft. So it's not nearly as fast-paced as StarCraft is. You're not going to be measuring actions per minute when you're playing. But for those people that are new to the game, they can sit down, get into it, and have some fun. If you're a skilled player, you're going to find those little tricks and tips that you can exploit and become a really good player.
In terms of macro in a Grey Goo, what's the macro play like?
So it's the basics of RTS, right? You have your resources, you have your unit production, and then you have your combat. There's a lot of map control in Grey Goo. We have elevation, we have line of sight, and then we have factions like the Goo that can actually break the rules. They can climb over things that break line of sight and look down on you when you can't see them. So it depends on the faction matchup as to how much macro you're going to have to worry about.
Were you able to borrow any design elements from your Command & Conquer experience into Grey Goo?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all RTS experience, right? So when we were building the factions, we wanted to build the play styles rather than just to build a faction from scratch. So we looked at the play styles of RTS players, and there's your turtle guy, you got your rusher guy, and then you got people that are somewhere in the middle. So we built the factions around those ideas. Goo is a massive, aggressive rushing style. The humans are very much a turtle defensive style, and then the beta are somewhere in the between.
Where can viewers go to learn more about it? What's the release date? All that information.
We're looking at early 2015 on Steam. It is Steam multiplayer and LAN, so those of you that want to just do LAN parties offline, you can go ahead and do that. You can visit www.greygoo.com to find out more.
Very cool. So check the links in the description below if you need more information. We thank you for your time, and I will see you all next time.